You want to know something that makes me mad enough to punch through solid steel? It's when people promise me strong female characters and instead dish out bland, scowling stereotypes who look and read as if they just crawled out of a Tumblr fever dream. Hello there, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Rants, brought to you by Camille's Harem. Not just a podcast for novice writers by novice writers, but also a YouTube channel by novice writers for novice writers. Because writing is an adventure, it's more fun with friends. And while it might seem disingenuous to stoop to kicking a man while he's down, I think it's a very valuable lesson to be learned from the newest installment in the muddled Terminator franchise, Dark Fate. And it is this: strong women in fiction, and in real life for that matter, are not simply patriarchy-defying buff lasses. Instead, a strong woman is one who has real autonomy. They act, think, and feel for themselves. When writing stories, this translates to the women in question doing what they do, not so much because the plot demands it, but because their characters demand it. In this sense, a strong female character could be a maid, a painter, a mother, a queen, an assassin, or even a deadly augmented warrior from the future. If only Grace had been that kind of character. Prepare yourselves for dull and uninspiring spoilers for Terminator Dark Fate. As Camille herself has told us guys in the harem repeatedly, it's not about writing a strong female character, it's about writing a strongly written female character. It becomes very simple to explain then why Terminator Dark Fate is so objectively terrible and why it fails in this particular department. And for me, this is really the key reason why the movie fell flat with a lot of people and why reviewers are tearing it a new one. Honestly speaking, people do like to see risks taken in fiction, and Dark Fate certainly takes risks, but it botches them entirely, not so much through what it did, but through the characters that were doing these things. We swap out John Connor for Danny Ramos, who is supposed to become the next resistant leader for humanity, and you know what? I'm fine with that, except that Danny really has no motivation to become a leader at all. And she doesn't really develop any skills for it either by the end of the movie. Or at any point does she make a conscious decision to become a leader or a resistance fighter or anything for that matter. I waited for it during the entire movie, but Danny is only there as a plot device to help move along the action from one location to another and to ask necessary questions to prompt exposition. The one and only moment in the entire movie where Danny takes an initiative for herself is to defend herself in the last moments of the film when she stabs the Rev 9 with a conveniently placed EMP device that was in Grace's stomach. And that's it. The only other moment where she stands up for herself in any way is when she asks for some food or when she tells Grace that she will be used as bait for the Rev 9. There we go. 3. A whopping 3 moments of individuality and autonomy and only one that really mattered. For the rest of the movie, she's just being hauled along like a foul-mouthed sack of potatoes. I'm not even sure why anyone would follow her in the first place. Even the flashback/flash forward that reveals her to be the resistance leader is absolutely lackluster, and it makes no sense why she would exist then as the leader instead of someone like John Connor. And then we have Grace. Why exactly did she volunteer for this mission? What made her qualified? And what is her connection to Danny? To answer all 3 questions is kind of pathetic when you step back and think about it. She owes Danny an anime-inspired life debt because she saved her once. Now, while I can totally understand admiration for the person who saved you, there is no other reason given in the entire movie, nor is there any other interaction between the two of them than that briefest of moments. It's like when an anime protagonist sees first girl and falls in love with her, and only her, and that is basically Grace and Danny. But it gets even better. Grace has no idea how to save Danny until Judgment Day. No plan, no sense of getting resources, working with others, or how to communicate at all. Grace acts again as a plot device to keep the action moving from one location to the other as she hauls a foul-mouthed sack of potatoes across Mexico. There we have it. And when your 2 new leads exist solely to move the plot along, you get a bland movie. Seriously, the action could not cover the fact that I knew nothing about Danny or Grace and that they do not develop at all as characters. There is no exploration of who they are as they run from the Rev 9 for the whole movie. This is where Fury Road excels, because you get tons of character progression as the chase progresses itself. But Dark Fate doesn't do any of that, and therefore it just flops onto its belly. The only exception among the film's female leads is Sarah Connor, and I know many die-hard fans of the Terminator movies will say that her character was betrayed in this movie. I respect their opinion, but I personally like the direction that they went, with the exception of a very heavy-handed conversation that was basically about abortion. It felt super forced. What makes Sarah the one really strong woman in this movie is that she makes real decisions. She decided for herself to avenge John by hunting Terminators. Though why they are coming here and where they're coming from is never clearly stated, but hey, it's a movie! And good for her for actually making a decision. She makes a decision also to work with and have compassion on Danny, which is absolutely genuine. And her reactions to Schwarzenegger's T-800 showed a real amount of character development and character depth. Still, with a breakneck plot led by two bland characters who were essentially a MacGuffin and Deus Ex Machina, respectively, Sarah was not really allowed to shine, and the movie overall suffered as a result. There's a lot that can be said about the story that could have been improved overall, or even overhauled into something different and more fulfilling, but the lesson is still the same. Strong female characters are the ones who are well written and are given the power of choice. If they're just made to be buff or represent a minority group, they become a stereotype rather than something engaging. And hey, if you want to hear us at the Harem discussing this topic at greater length, as well as learning what we have ourselves done with our female protagonists, please go on over to Camille's Harem. Check out episodes 28, 35, and 36. And really, that's the dumbfounding thing here. How can novice writers know this better than script writers, screenplay writers, and directors who get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars? This is why we, novice writers, we here at Camille's Harem, and you watching this video must continue on our journey and bring fresh perspectives and new characters to the world of fiction. We can bring so many amazing female leads to our stories and not, well, this. The final takeaways are these. Strong female characters are the ones who are strongly written and have autonomy within the story. Also, if you haven't seen Dark Fate yet, well, don't feel obliged to go see it. Alright, that does it for this quick rant. If you're already looking up our podcast episodes 28, 35, and 36, awesome, and we highly encourage you to go check out the rest of them. We have a lot of really great writing advice that we do there, as well as try to provide you with numerous laughs when we make fun of terrible fan fictions. You can also reach out to us and engage in conversations over at our subreddit. We have plenty of writing exercises to try out over our Pinterest page, and you can help us in our quest to find terrible fanfics by sending us links to those delicious, nasty gems via our Twitter at Camille's Harem. And until the next video, y'all, tschüss.